A very good morning to all the viewers and the webinar team. This is A. Ram Prasad, Principal, Telangana Model School, Ramachandrapuram, Sangareddy District. While continuing our sessions for intermediate first year as well as second year, I have the privilege to introduce Mrs. Shaitaj Begum, PGT Political Science from Telangana Model School, Dhanwada, Naranpet District. She has a vast experience in teaching social studies and also English at various levels. She has served in various education institutions prior to joining model schools. She's associated with Telangana Model School since inception of the schools in 2013. She has conducted so many sessions for intermediate first year as well as second year. Hope all the students have made optimum use of the sessions. So the session which she is going to continue is the topic India and the world. The session 1 was already conducted. This is the second session for the same topic. I look forward for one more wonderful session from Mrs. Shaitaj Begum. Over to Mrs. Shaitaj Begum for the session on India and the world, part 2.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning, viewers. I welcome you all again for this session, webinar session, a very interesting session, of course. I welcome you all for this session. Today, we are going to discuss India and the World, session 2. I have conducted my earlier session on this topic, India and the world. In my previous session, we have discussed foreign policy, what is a foreign policy, and what is India's foreign policy. And we have also discussed the determinants and the factors which affect the foreign policy of a particular country. In this chapter, we are going to discuss the different and the basic aspects which a nation makes out to have or to maintain diplomatic relations with the other country. So please pay attention during the whole session, children. Let's get started towards the session. So as I told you, we have discussed India's foreign policy. So let me again remind you what is actually foreign policy, isn't it? Foreign policy is that strategy which the nation or a country deals when it is dealing or negotiating with the other countries. As famous philosopher and father of political science Aristotle quoted that man is a social animal and he cannot live in isolation. In the same way, states also cannot survive or continue its development or growth without cooperation of the other states or country here, isn't it? So we need to have some relations maintained to bring ourselves identified, recognized in this world. And also interdependency is also the need of the hour today. So to have all this, we need to have a well-conceived and well-drafted foreign policy. How to deal with other nations and get our wishes or get our things satisfied so that we can take the nation to a developmental goal. So we have discussed foreign policy in the previous chapter, how it is affecting us in economic area and as well as in political area. Economic wise, foreign policy, it drafts and it keeps in mind when the foreign policy is drafted, the makers, they keeps in mind about the trade promotion, investment policy, foreign direct investment in our country, and the things related to economic, financial and commercial negotiation. All these things are kept in mind when a country's foreign policy is drafted. And in political area, exploration of right, that is rights are preserved, how rights are preserved and how they are being recognized in the world countries, how international cooperation is achieved and how our country it projects before or how we present our country in the world countries as a country which loves peaceful coexistence. all these things matters a lot when we deal with the other nations. And this drafting this foreign policy is a very cumbersome work. So now, in proceeding towards the foreign policy or in proceeding towards the lesson, let us first start with BRICS. What is this BRICS and how India is related to this, or what is that we are seeing here on the screen? We are just having here on the screen, it is giving us the name of 5 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Now, what is this BRICS? BRICS is actually a forum, an organization, international organization, and it is independent. What is BRICS? It is an forum, an international organization which is independent and which was formed to develop the common interest of these nations. I told you this lesson is about the continuation lesson of the previous session, foreign policies, determinants and all. So how we deal with other nations? When we are dealing with other nations, we have to come to an understanding. We have to sign different treaties, we have to sign different agreements, and we need to join hands. We need to collaborate with other countries for our existence and also for the sustainable development. So in process of this, BRICS was formed. So it is an international organization, an independent organization which encourages commercial, political and cultural cooperation among its member countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. These are the 5 member countries of BRICS. It is an acronym. Students. BRICS is an acronym for an association of 5 major countries of the world. It was established to pursue common objectives in 2009. So it is an acronym, and the 5 member countries are Brazil. This organization, which is independent, it was formed in 2009 to have the common objectives, to receive the common objectives. Now let us know more about BRICS. The acronym BRIC was initially formulated in 2001 by economist Jim O'Neill of Goldman Sachs in a report on growth prospects for the economies of Brazil, Russia, India and China, which together represented a significant share of world's production and population. So this term BRIC was formulated in 2001 by the famous economist Jim O'Neill. He worked for Goldman Sachs, which was a multinational bank and investment company of America. So he coined this word for economies of these 5 countries, because these 5 countries, they represented a significant share of world's production and also population. Almost 40%. They share 40% of the world's population and also the production of different goods. The BRICS mechanisms aims to promote peace, security, development and cooperation. So what was the major reason, or what was the main objective to form BRICS? It aimed to promote peace. That was the demand of the situation. Security, development and cooperation. These were the 5 different objectives which BRICS wanted to achieve apart from the common interest. It also aims to improve the global economic situation and reforming financial institutions. Not only it aims at peace, security and development among the 5 nations, member countries of BRICS, but it also aims at improving the global situation of the world. BRICS opposes all forms of dominations and insists on principles of equality and justice in international relations. Apart from that, it opposes all forms of dominations, and it insists on the principle of equality and justice, in where not in the internal issues, but in the international relations among the world countries. The grouping was originally known as BRIC. It was first BRIC. S was not included. What does S stands here, children? S stands here for South Africa. South Africa. Because earlier there were only 4 member countries: Brazil, Russia, India, and China. South Africa joined this organization in 2010. The BRIC became a mechanism through which the countries can exchange opinion, convergence, identify areas of cooperation, and influence the international agenda. So it does not only seeks promotion of peace, cooperation, and improving financial institutions, but also it helps the countries for exchange of opinions, for identifying the different problems and sorting out the solution, and through various conferences and summits. Officially, it was admitted as BRIC nation on 24 December 2010. South Africa, it was admitted as a BRIC nation on 24 December 2010. From there onwards, S is added, and we have 5 member countries to this organization now. With the entrance of South Africa at the 3rd BRIC summit in April 2011, the BRIC became BRICS with capital S, that is inclusion of South Africa. Now here, let us see the contribution. Exactly, not contribution. Let us see why these 5 countries, China, Brazil, Russia, and South Africa. Most of these 5 countries are newly industrialized and developing nations. All these were developing nations, newly industrialized and developing nations, and represent nearly 40% of the world's production. So these countries, it was a need for them to tie up with each other so that they will support and assistance of each other. They can reach their goals and they can make their country more and more. Now, let us understand what are the objectives of BRICS. What are the objectives of BRICS? To achieve regional development, to remove trade barriers, economic development, optimum use of resources, build up relationship. The first objective of BRICS is to achieve regional development. Now, the BRICS seeks to deepen, broaden, and intensify cooperation within the member countries and also among the individual nations of the BRIC member countries. It intensifies deeper cooperation, and because these countries, they are newly industrialized and they are making their countries reach a developmental stage. We can call all this India as a developing country. It needs assistance, technical assistance, financial assistance. So many other aspects are there which has to be collaborated to make a country reach the higher levels, and also to see that the citizens, the welfare of the citizen is happening in the state. So to achieve the regional development, to remove trade barriers. We all know the fact, children, that a country cannot be self-sufficient. For more or less, we have to depend upon the other countries. So trade is the need of the hour. Compulsorily, trade barriers has to be removed for us to survive. The BRICS, it aims at economic development. It sees to it that the citizens are having a better standards of living. Citizens are having a better standards of living, and it also aims at removal of poverty, optimum utilization of resources, natural resources of one's country, and building up diplomatic relations with the other countries, member countries of the BRICS. Now let us understand the relation of India and BRICS. What is the contribution of India to BRICS, and how India has attained the cooperation among from the member countries of the BRICS. India shares close economic and cultural ties with her BRIC partners, that is all the 5 nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. India attaches high importance to engagement with BRICS as a platform for coordination. Listen carefully. BRICS, the organization, the forum, what does it gives children? It gives the world countries the platform for what? For coordination, consultation, and cooperation on current issues, which are going on, the problems which need to be tackled, which need to be resolved immediately. India's engagement with BRICS, India's association with BRIC countries may be seen in the context of our proactive and broad-based international engagement to contribute towards building a peaceful and prosperous world. So it aims at maintaining international peace and also maintaining the diplomatic relations among the world countries, which is very much needed for maintaining peace. India's trade with BRIC partners. BRIC partners here means the 5 member countries of BRICS. India's trade with BRIC partners is about US $95 billion. That is according to 2013 to 14 data from the Ministry of Commerce and Industry of India. So trade relations, they improved a lot among the BRIC countries, which is a very good sign of development. India's notable contribution to BRICS is proposal of new development bank. It was India which proposed the contribution, or which proposed the establishment of new development bank, which was put on the BRICS agenda at the 4th summit hosted by India in New Delhi in March 2012. In the 4th summit of BRICS, India has put the proposal of establishing new development bank. Subsequently, India hosted the first negotiation meeting for taking this initiative forward in August 2012. After several rounds of negotiations and finance ministers' meetings, the agreement for setting up bank has been signed at the 6th summit in Brazil in July 2014. So the proposal for this establishment of new development bank was put up in 4th summit, and after thorough and keen discussions, it was accepted at the 6th summit in Brazil, July 2014. The new development bank has headquarters in Shanghai with a regional office in South Africa. The first president of the bank is from India, and he is KV Kamath. KV Kamath. Now let us understand why India felt the need of establishing this bank. The new development bank. The new development bank, it was established on the lines of World Bank and International Monetary Fund, IMF, which is the specialized agency of United Nations organization. Why was it established? Why it was felt that we need a new development bank? Yes, it was felt because we need a bank to foster greater financial and development cooperation. So that is why the proposals to start this bank was accepted at the 6th BRICS summit. The Shanghai-based New Development Bank was established by the BRICS countries, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa in 2014, and is headed by veteran Indian banker KV Kamath, the first president of this bank, first Indian. Why this bank was established? The purpose of this bank was to mobilize resources for infrastructure and sustainable development projects in BRICS countries and other emerging economies. Other emerging economies means other developing countries and developing nations, complementing the existing efforts of multilateral and regional financial institutions for global growth and development. Even though we had a World Bank, we have specialized agencies of United Nations organization that is called International Monetary Fund. Still, there was a need for the establishment of new development bank to make the need faster of giving financial assistance to the BRIC nations. The new development bank of the BRIC countries has fully disbursed US $1 million emergency assistance loan to India to help it contain the spread of COVID-19. Now, we all know that the world has been going through a pandemic since 2020. The whole year was a pandemic year. And now also it is continuing because till now we haven't got the complete cure of the disease. So in this emergency situation, because BRIC is India is one of the member countries of BRIC, we got an emergency assistance loan from the New Development Bank. Now here is the list of important summits of BRICS, which was conducted. The 12th 2020 annual summit was virtually conducted. It was not conducted like regular summits were conducted because of pandemic. It was virtually conducted, that is through video conferencing. Now let us discuss the achievements of BRICS. What BRICS has achieved, why it is important to have such organizations. Each of the 4 founding BRIC countries have already seen the tangible benefits of cooperation during the 10 years of the grouping's formation in the form of rapid economic growth and prosperity for their countries. All the member countries, ever since they have formed into a group and ever since they have been assisting each other financially, technically, and also socially, they have seen rapid economic growth in their countries. Trade and investment, their membership acted as a catalyst for more positive positioning in the global marketplace amongst global investors and strategic investment partners. Foreign investment also increased, trade also increased a lot, which is a good sign for developing nation. There is a fast growth rate in intra-BRICS trade. Russia, Brazil, and South Africa supply commodities to China and India. So there is a fast rate in the intra-trade BRICS, means trade among the member countries of BRICS. China is the major exporter of manufacturers to all the other BRICS. South Africa took up its seats as the 5th member of BRICS in 2011. Export also increased with the inclusion of South Africa in BRICS. Need or importance of BRICS. To promote the technological information exchange, improve the professional development and education of countries, to promote the technological information exchange, that is exchange of technology. I'll give an example. The mobile phones what we are using, the laptops or the technical gadgets what we are using in our daily life, are all those produced or manufactured in our country, students? No, they are the inventions of other countries. Then how are we able to use them? It is because of exchange of technology and information, trade, international trade. This is also one of the result of international trade. Improve the professional development and education of the countries, making these countries getting closer to others to obtain the comparative advantage of these countries. The maximum utilization of the resources of the country and the maximum utilization of manpower and other things are being used for development of the country. To achieve regional development, to remove trade barriers, smooth flow of trade, economic development, which is very much needed for the citizens to improve their living standards and to ensure that they have better standards of living, optimum use of resources, and building relationship. All these are the certain objectives or the importance of being member country of BRICS or being a part of such international organizations. Now let us discuss one more international organization, that is BIMSTEC, BIMSTEC. TEC. Now what is the full form of this? Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. I repeat, Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. Now let us see what does it stands for. The Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation is an international organization. We are discussing one more international organization. So it is of 7 nations. It is of 7 nations. Of which continent? Of South Asia and Southeast Asia, housing 1.5 billion people and having a combined GDP of $3.5 trillion according to 2018 data. So this BIMSTEC, it is a combination of 7 nations of South Asia and Southeast Asias, which contribute a significant share of world's population, that is 1.5 billion people, and it contributes to the GDP of $3.5 trillion. This sub-regional organization came into being on 6th June 1997 to the Bangkok Declaration. So it was established on 6th June 1997 through a declaration called Bangkok Declaration. It constitutes 7 member countries. So how many countries we have for this BIMSTEC? 7 member countries, 5 deriving from South Asia, including Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and 2 from Southeast Asia, that is Myanmar and Thailand. Now let us see what are the importance and what are the objectives of this BIMSTEC. To promote active collaboration and mutual assistance on matters of common interest in the economic, social, technical, and scientific fields, provide assistance to each other in the form of training and research facilities in the education, professional, technical spheres. It was established especially to give a platform for assisting each other on common interests like technical and scientific fields, and also research and professional education. All these spheres need to be very well equipped so that a country reaches the highest developmental goal. So the member countries of this BIMSTEC, they assist each others on these matters. In the 8th ministerial meeting, a number of new areas of cooperation emerged that include agriculture, public health, poverty alleviation, counter-terrorism and transnational crime, environment and natural disaster management, culture and climate change. So initially when it was formed, it served as a platform to assist each other economic, social, and technical spheres. But in the 8th meeting of BIMSTEC, it brought into new areas of study like agriculture, public health. It was also concerned about public health, poverty alleviation, that is removal of poverty, fighting against poverty among the member countries of BIMSTEC, regional development, and it also targeted on how to counter terrorism, and transnational crime, natural disaster management, culture, and climate change. So all these were the new areas which were included under BIMSTEC. Now let us discuss this one after the other. Like you can see here, you might be confused with these words like transnational crime. Now what is this transnational crime? Transnational crime is nothing but the crimes which have actual or potential effect across borders, national borders. Those crimes are called transnational crimes. That means which are having larger effect, which affect larger people across borders, national borders. Now you can take examples of human trafficking, smuggling of goods, that is terrorism offenses. All these are examples of transnational crimes. In short, we can say transnational crimes are violation of laws, breaking of law that involve more than one country, and they involve countries when they are planning, executing, and their effect also will be on more than one country. That is why they are called transnational crime. And also BIMSTEC, it is also studying and also targeting issues related to natural disaster management. Natural disasters, we all know what a natural disaster, isn't it? Examples like floods, famines, all these are examples of tsunami. They are examples of natural disasters. These are not man-made, these are not human-induced disasters, and we do not have any control on these, but we can take precautions and we can take assistance to save ourselves and to have less effect. So BIMSTEC in the has suggested, or it has also increased area of natural disaster management. Now here, India hosted many workshops. India is also giving more of its contribution to this disaster management thing. India hosted workshops on different things and also hosted workshop on geoinformatics application in disaster management. Now here you can see here, these are the flags of the member countries of BIMSTEC: Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Thailand, and Myanmar. You can see here their location in the world map, these 7 countries. Let us study the objectives of BIMSTEC: to create an enabling environment for rapid economic development through cooperation. Cooperation is very much needed for us to make a nation developed. So to create a platform, which each other's assistant, and to make the country and its citizens ensure happiness. Increase the economic growth and social progress in the sub-region through joint endeavors. Through many agreements or treaties, the BIMSTEC, it aims at improving social progress and economic growth in the sub-region, that is member countries. Promotion of active collaboration and mutual assistance on matters of common interest. To provide assistance to each other. We are talking here about member countries of BIMSTEC to provide assistance, technical, research facilities in the educational and professional and in technical spheres. Cooperation in joint efforts for the tangible benefits to the people. Close and beneficial cooperation with existing international and regional organizations with similar aims and purposes. Close and beneficial cooperation, that is maintaining good relations with other existing international organizations like SARC. We have SARC, we have already discussed BRICS, we have ASEAN, ASEA and ASEAN, we have EEC, European Economic Community. These are all also international organization. So maintaining existing good relations with existing international organization for purpose of similar benefits. Use alphabetical order for the chairmanship, with Bangladesh being the first chairman, the alphabetical order according to the countries. India held the position of chairman for BIMSTEC for 2 terms, 2001-2006. In alliance with Asian Development Bank, the BIMSTEC is undertaking projects for improvement of mutual cooperation among nations. The financial assistance which it needs, it is taken from Asian Development Bank. The members of BIMSTEC also conducted free trade framework agreement in order to stimulate trade and investment. There have many changes in the trade policy. In order to stimulate trade and investment, facilitate technical assistance in matters of technology transfer, participate in multilateral trade negotiations at WTO and so on. That is World Trade Organization. Now here list of BIMSTEC summits. You can see here first, second, third, fourth and fifth. Fifth is yet to be held in 2022. You can see here the host country and the host city. So these are the projects which were covered by BIMSTEC. Coast shipping, power grid interconnection, regional disaster monitoring and warning system, road and rail, that is Look East connectivity projects. All these were projects which were targeted by BIMSTEC. For India, BIMSTEC is a natural choice to fulfill key foreign policy priorities of neighborhood first and look east. One of the features of India's foreign policy is look east. Now we have to maintain and strengthen the relation with Southeast Asian countries. So BIMSTEC became a choice for India to do that. The presence of BIMSTEC leaders at government swearing-in ceremony in May 2019, it proved or it reinforced the growing stature of BIMSTEC in the region. On 20th anniversary of BIMSTEC, a series of events were organized by India to mark the 20th anniversary of BIMSTEC in 2017 to 18. These events included a BIMSTEC business conference by Indian Chamber of Commerce ICC at Agartala on March 23, 2017 in the year. And fourth BIMSTEC summit, the theme of the summit was towards a peaceful, prosperous and sustainable Bay of Bengal region. Towards a peaceful, that means it targeted not only at the economic development of the region countries, development, but also it wanted peace and sustainable development in the region. At the summit, the Prime Minister announced a number of initiatives by Government of India to further strengthen BIMSTEC cooperation and capacity building in diverse areas. Now here we'll discuss the major initiatives that India has taken since it implemented. First is disaster management exercise, which was held in February 2020. The first ever BIMSTEC conference on combating drug trafficking. It was a two-day conference which was held at New Delhi and was inaugurated by the Home Minister on 30th February. All these are the major initiatives which India has taken. India is the lead country in 4 areas, that is to counter terrorism and to fight transnational crime, support and communication, tourism, environment, and disaster management. India has also taken the initiative for addressing regional susceptibilities in this regard by setting up a BIMSTEC Center for Weather and Climate, a state-of-the-art facility in Noida in 2000. So this is India's contribution. India has also set up a link between BIMSTEC countries through Tsunami Early Warning Center. This was set up by India and has been sharing the data from the Tsunami Early Warning Center since 2006. So it also targets at environment and disaster management and also tourism. What is tourism, children? Here, why we are discussing why BIMSTEC has opted for tourism. Yes, the tourism has rich all the areas, all the countries in BIMSTEC, they have rich potential. They have rich potential in tourism because all these regions, they are having good ancient civilization and several historical monuments. So to promote tourism in all these regions, BIMSTEC established this thing. They have included this in one of their objectives, and developing and sharing of common safety protocols during the tourism. Now let us discuss one more international organization, that is SAARC. Now what is this SAARC? Now here you can see these are the member countries of SAARC. These are the member countries of SAARC. India, Bhutan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, Maldives, Sri Lanka, and Afghanistan. These are the 8 member countries of SAARC. Its 7 founding members are Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Afghanistan joined later on 3rd April 2007. Initially, there were only 7 member countries. Later on, Afghanistan joined. Now you can see here the full form of SAARC, the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. The South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. It was founded on 8th December 1985. The place where it was founded was at Dhaka. Its headquarters is Kathmandu, Nepal. The first summit was held in Dhaka, Bangladesh. The 2020 SAARC summit will take place in Islamabad, Pakistan, which has been postponed on different reasons. Now, what was the purpose for establishment of SAARC? The SAARC seeks to promote the welfare of people of Asia, South Asia especially, strengthen collective self-reliance, promote active collaboration and mutual assistance in various fields, and cooperate with international and regional organizations. The most important objective of SAARC was to strengthen collective self-reliance, to make countries self-independent, and also to promote, at the same time, to promote mutual assistance and collaboration. Association, that is South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, is the regional intergovernmental organization and geopolitical union of states in South Asia. Now, these are the member countries: Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, the Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Now, here you can see it is an association for regional cooperation. To understand this, first we should know what is the meaning of the term regionalism. Regionalism, in a short term, if you want to remember the meaning of this word, region means what, students? Area, isn't it? Region. So here regionalism means promoting the common interest of the people in a particular area, in a particular area, in a specified territory, in a specified territory. So regionalism in the world means promoting common interest in the areas of economic, military, and non-political by sovereign states. So here specially it was formed to promote economic stability among the areas of South Asia. The idea of regionalism emerged to resolve common issues through efforts of handful nations. Many nations, these South Asian nations, like here we have 8 member countries, they became one. They became one, and their efforts wanted, through their efforts, they wanted to sort out common issues which the countries are facing and to maintain international peace as well as peaceful coexistence. Example of regional associations are ASEAN, SAARC, and European Economic Community. All these are the examples of regional associations. Now, why SAARC was formed? The main reasons, purpose. Central location of Asia, that is South Asian countries. Common features of Indian subcontinent. India is a subcontinent, isn't it? Because of the vast area. It is called a subcontinent. All countries gained independence after the Second World War. Here all countries means all the 8 member countries of SAARC. All these countries have the same cultural background and history. All these countries were part of Third World. Third World means what, children? I have discussed about this word, isn't it, in my previous session? Let me remind you again. Third world means the countries which did not join any of the bloc. They remain neutral. Now the word third world is used to define developing countries. The region is poor and overpopulated. All these countries, majority of the people are poor and has good population. Predominance of agriculture, that is majority of the people's occupation here in these 8 member countries of SAARC is agriculture. Dependence of the economy on southwest monsoon. SAARC, let us see what are the major objectives of SAARC. To improve quality of life and welfare of people. All the treaties, negotiations, agreements, and all the strategies which are adopted by the government are adopted for one major reason, that is welfare of the people. So the first objective is to improve the quality of life, to improve the living standards of the people, and also the welfare of people, and economic, social, and cultural development among the SAARC countries, to contribute mutual trust and understanding, to strengthen cooperation among themselves and other developing countries, and to cooperate on issues like water resources, and to sort out problems related to natural resources with peaceful means. Now, SAARC, it has some developmental goals. They are like, it also want to include these areas like improving education facilities, research and training facilities, connectivity, seamless connectivity with other countries, food security, which is the demand of this hour, energy security, to counter terrorism, and for global climate change. We all know that we have many environmental issues, and one environmental issue is global warming. So to tackle these issues, to address these issues also, SAARC is exploring many ways. Now, SAARC has hosted, or SAARC has conducted many summits. Among them, one of the important summit was 18th SAARC summit, which was held in 2014 in Nepal. Now let us discuss the important things of SAARC 18th summit. The Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, he emphasized on cooperation in every area. The SAARC summit, 18th SAARC summit. It means greater contact between people of the region and seamless connectivity, uninterrupted connectivity, that is removing trade barriers. India visualized trade, investment, assistance, cooperation in every area through SAARC. The Kathmandu Declaration, issued on November 27, 2014, describes the need to intensify regional cooperation and to reiterate their commitment to free South Asia from poverty. This is one of the important attributes of SAARC, that it is aiming at removing poverty from South Asia. SAARC emerged as an important association towards the realization of developmental goals. So these were the certain things which were discussed and which were, targeted in the 18th SAARC summit. Now, what did we learn, children, today? We have discussed India and BRICS, objectives of BRICS. We have discussed BRICS summits, India and BIMSTEC, objectives of BIMSTEC, SAARC, formation of SAARC, SAARC objectives, what is regionalism, and we have also discussed SAARC summits. All these organizations like BRICS, BIMSTEC, SAARC are very important for promoting a foreign policy. I thank you everyone for participation. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam.
Mrs. Shaitaj Begum, it was a wonderful session. So certainly the students must have got a clear understanding about their country and in relation to other countries, where do they stand. As a responsible citizen of any nation, we should know what is our status, and when compared to other countries, where do we stand? And without the support and cooperation of other countries, we cannot survive. Even if a country can be a self-reliant, but we need to depend on other countries, and other countries do need to depend on us, so that both the countries develop. So it's a wonderful topic as far as the general knowledge is concerned, and even for success in any competitive examination. Knowledge of India and the foreign policy are certainly very important. Thank you very much for the session, ma'am. So I think we have part 3 also for this.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So certainly the students will look forward for the third session also. Thank you very much, ma'am. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.